All right, this is day one of your spiritual training, and this is going to be a key video for laying the foundation of where we're trying to go. Now, a lot of this started for me with just a simple question: God, how do I know if I'm on track? How do I know if I'm moving in the direction that you want me to be moving? And it started with, what are your goals for my life? How do I know if I'm on track? So, what are God's goals for your life? I think it's four things. Number one, God's goal is to build a community of people, who are believe in Jesus and are growing more like Him. So number one, growth. You are continually growing, you're continually expanding, you're continually getting better in two areas. You're growing internally as a person. You're growing in your faith and your peace and your courage and your humility and your trust and security, in control of your emotions. You're growing as a person. So you think about every parent, what are the goals that they have for their kids? You're going to see that these check the boxes for most people. You want your kids to be growing and maturing as people. Number one, that's it. And you want them to be growing and maturing in their skill sets. They have some kind of valuable skill set that they're supposed to be growing in. For me, it might be health and writing books and doing videos and things like that. What is the skill sets that you need to walk out your purpose? What are those skill sets? We want to be growing internally and externally. So that's number one. And then underneath the growth, there's three areas that we need to be continually growing in. Number one, we need to be growing more self-sufficient. Just think about every parent. You want your kids to be more self-sufficient, to eat their own food, to go to the bathroom by themselves, to when they get older make good decisions, to make their own money, to become more and more self-sufficient. God wants us to be growing in our self-sufficiency. We still need Him and want a relationship with Him and depend on Him, but at the same time He expects us to grow up and to become more self-sufficient. Number two is we need to be working properly or doing good work. So what are your skill sets? Like we talked about, you have some purpose that is unique to you, and we need to figure out what that is, and we need to be growing in it and expanding in it and getting better at it, and we need to be doing good work. And number three, contributing to other people. So I'm growing more self-sufficient. Number one, I'm growing more self-sufficient. I'm growing in my skill sets and the skills that I have, and I'm using those skill sets to contribute to the world, to contribute to other people, to make their lives better as well. If I have those four things, I'm growing, I'm becoming more self-sufficient, I'm growing in my work and my purpose, and I'm contributing to other people, you are on track. So how do we figure out what this purpose is? The book of Proverbs tells us that the purpose in a man's heart is in the deep waters of your heart, and you pull it out actually with your words. You may find, number one, that's in your heart. So to find this purpose, the Bible talks about number one thing is you seek. You're seeking God. During these 40 days, I want you to be continually seeking God. We're going to talk about how to do that over these 10 days. But the number one thing, you're seeking Him. What is this purpose? What did you create me for? He has a unique purpose for each one of us. It's going to combine, so what are the criteria for letting you know what this purpose is? It's in the deep waters of your heart. You pull it out with your words. It's going to combine your gifts, your talents, your passions, your unique experiences that you've been through. It's going to combine all of those things into something that is unique to you. Okay, it's going to, and then there's a couple other criteria that's going to meet. It's going to look big. It's going to look bigger than you imagined because you're going to need God's help. It's going to require you to grow as a person. Remember, that's the number one thing. It's going to require you to grow as a person internally and in your skill sets. Okay? It's going to require your growth, and it's going to look big because you're going to have the help of other people. Anything God does, you're going to need Him, you're going to have to grow, and you're going to have to learn to work better and more effectively and build community and team around you. These are some of the key components. It's also, anything that God has for you to do is also multi-generational. It's never going to be done in your lifetime. It's going to take more than one lifetime to walk it out. It's always going to promote living a more balanced life. And these are some of the criteria that we can use to know whether we're on track and we're finding a purpose. So if you start to feel like, as we go through these 40 days, you're getting a glimpse of something bigger for your life, it needs to meet these criteria. It looks impossible because you need God's help. You're going to need to grow. You're going to need a team and people around you to help with it. It's going to be multi-generational. It's going to be combining all of the gifts and talents and passions and experiences that you have in life. You've been uniquely prepared for this thing, whatever it may be, and then it's going to promote you living a more balanced and abundant life. If it meets those criteria, we are probably on track. That is the thing we are trying to find as we go through this 40 days. Remember, what is the number one thing once we find this? How you respond is huge. Do you respond with faith and belief, saying, let's go, let's do this? Or do you respond with fear and doubt because it looks big, it looks impossible, and you say, you know what, I'm better off just staying where I am? Okay, that's the deciding factor that I think God uses to decide whether you're moving to the next phase. And we're going to start to walk this thing out. We're going to develop your plans and keep moving ahead as we go forward with it from there.